Hey folks, we're back, and even though I had set the camera, we appear to have lost Zombie Grub. One sec here. I also have to restart alerts. I know some of you guys were politely holding your alerts for while we were doing the interview live, and I thank you all kindly for that. I did turn them off though, because for some reason, even though I turned them off, sounds were still coming through, so I'm just turning this back on as we speak. Actually, this is great bait to say if you guys are willing to sub or cheer bits right now so I could test it, that'd be awesome. But in all seriousness, we are just getting geared up and good to go here for the TING Grand Finals. And I will be fixing my overlay here in just a moment as we swap that over. Or excuse me, I said Grand Finals. It's the semifinals. I'm getting ahead of myself. Did you catch the tail end of that talk show, by the way, or were you just waiting to go live?
I was just waiting.
Okay. Did you have any... Whoops, I'll move that over there. Do you have any predictions about who's going to win these semifinals? Who's going to take it? All that good stuff?
Yes. I think Neeb's going to win the whole thing.
Just all the way through?
Yeah. Yeah, I would go with like Neeb and then Denver. Yeah.
That would be a cool finals. I know Neeb, of course, for those who didn't watch last season, he got to the grand finals and lost to Gumiho, so there'd be a little bit of justice in him getting through. I, for the life of me, though, can't remember how I got your camera up before.
I don't know. Usually it just pops up.
Yeah. Give me a sec, guys, while I fiddle with this. I think it was, I think I got this. There we go. Zombie Grub's face. Crop that, we'll size that. But yeah, so we got the semifinals in store, both PvZs now. If you guys don't know the story of what happened with Mana, there is a twit longer detailing it a little bit further. But the too long didn't read version is Mana was not going to be able to compete for the rest of the tournament, so we didn't really want to punish him with a forfeit. He's been a very long, like, upstanding, good citizen, all that stuff. So he's been what is quote-unquote honorably disqualified. Impact has been revived to take his place. Impact will also be earning reduced prize money, with the rest of it being redistributed, as is, I guess, taxation on coming back for a second chance at life. So we wish all the players playing today the most sincere and good luck, and we'll be starting off with Impact versus Neeb. And I am just a little bit discombobulated because that show went on slightly longer than expected, so I still don't have tweets and stuff out and making those as we roll. But how's, I guess you had Thanksgiving recently, right? Mrs. American, or Miss, excuse me, American?
Yes.
She got married over the holidays.
I got married to America, apparently.
And turkeys and other delicious things. How was that for you?
It was good. It's Thanksgiving. I don't know. You know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I got, I usually don't care. Like, I just honestly couldn't care less about American holidays most of the time, but I got caught up, man, and I'm not super proud to say it, but like I saw everyone tweeting all the like, I'm thankful for this, I'm thankful for that, and I was just like, I wish I had people to be thankful with. So I sent some people a couple of messages, and like 3 messages, and I'm like, okay, this is maybe a little too sappy. Riff can cut that shit out.
I see. Yeah, I didn't do any thankful messages.
I hated that at family get-togethers. They'd be like, let's go around the table and say what we're thankful for. And either people would like take way too long with their answers, or they would be like the equivalent of real life subtweeting at other people by saying like, well, I'm thankful that so-and-so isn't this way. I'm like, okay, directing that at me? Fuck you.
That's weird. We never did that though, so I have no way. I don't have an experience with that. The only thing I find uncomfortable at Thanksgiving, and I've always found uncomfortable, even like, you know, when it was a huge family gathering and like, you know, a couple days ago when it was only just me and my parents, is that we have to say prayer before dinner, but like only on Thanksgiving.
Really interesting.
Yeah, my mom just like kind of like automatically does it, and like, you know, she'll get visibly upset if you don't do it. I don't say the words. I'm trying to forget them, basically. I couldn't do it right now, but maybe I could do it if I was like at a table. But I've always found prayer very, very weird. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't think, I guess I'm always surprised because your mom seems like the most chill, laid back, like couldn't care less, and I hear about like all her like tendencies for politics and like then super random like table stuff.
She doesn't like talking about politics, and she just, I mean, it's what she was ingrained to do, right? The whole like prayer thing, like Irish Catholicism. So it just, I don't know, to her feels vastly uncomfortable, even though we don't even go to church or anything like that anymore.
It's like this idea, because you got her playing StarCraft, and she's like saying a prayer for all the units she's killing.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, right? Like she isn't like that at all. It's only like before a Thanksgiving meal. She used to do it at Easter too. Then we stopped having Easter meals. And then I guess my family still does it. We all get like a huge get together like in Christmas. Everyone does it then too. But I mean, it's like we're not even that religious as a whole. I don't know. I don't get it. But whatever. It's one little thing.
One little itty bitty thing. All right, folks, we're getting ready to go with the very first best of 7 today. And I really want to emphasize that because I am without a doubt going to mess up on the overlay and not type that incorrectly from time to time. But yeah, just real quick proof here as we swap over it because I got to load in the screen. This is, in fact, all live. There's no replays. Here we go. There's the lobby. There's the verification. And also, big thank you to Black Spade Kamui, 200 bits coming in, saying time to get the bits going. Dude, you spoiled us rotten the other day. I couldn't possibly ask for more. Snow Python, thank you for the 34-month resub. And Swag Syndrome coming back for 3. Flochin threw 100 bits our way during the interview. And Juvia Loxer came back for 11 months at tier 3. Ooh, girl, you spoil us. Thank you for that. It says 1 more month. Oh, and Black Spade Kimmy at the start of the stream through 200 bits saying, why, Rifkin, did you shave the beard? It's a long story. We'll get into that later. If the players are ready to go, we'll rock into it. I got to quickly note, guys, we're not doing any map intros today. Feels bad, man. Maybe I'll play the Abyssal Refund for memes, but we're having a lot of copyright issues with the channel, and that was never the intention of these intros. It was always supposed to be, like, just super fun, relaxed, and I used to go 100% copyright-free material. I got tainted and tempted by K-pop this season, and Blackpink ruins everything apparently.
Ruined.
So we'll be readdressing some of these intros for the future, but we do have some of them that are safe to use, so we'll do a couple, but just so everyone is fully aware. But this is the semifinals. If you guys haven't seen the prize pool for this tournament, by the way, you can type !match Reno in chat. We're almost at $5,100. $5,000 at least have been raised so far. So a really awesome prize pool. We're paying out to like the top 16 players. Big thank you to Ting for making all this happen. But to kick things off, ladies and gentlemen, in the lower right, we have the Red Zerg Impact.
In the top left is the yellow Protoss. He is Ting's Neeb.
So a couple things to note. First and foremost, guys, I quickly reset all my levels to where they were normally, but of course we had the talk show / interview before this, so they may be off. Please, please, pretty please, if you think Zombie or myself are too loud, too quiet, game sounds, etc., please do let us know so I can adjust on the fly. Also, big thank you, Black Spade Camera, coming in with 1,000 bits to claim title of Bit Boss. Time to spoil. Interesting, though, I asked during the interview who all the Koreans thought were their scariest player, right? Everyone said Neeb except for TY, who said Major. But then when asked about like who to win for the tournament, they all said Neeb's a scary player, but they're pretty much all cheering for Impact, which I thought was really interesting. That statesmanship and brotherhood and whatnot.
I think it makes sense. I mean, more so than all like just being for the cheer for the person from your country, which everyone is guilty of. I mean, that's why Neeb is a fan favorite to begin with, and then obviously he got to be one of the best in the world. I think like a lot of people in Korea just know each other, right? Like I don't know how good friends are with Impact, but I imagine some of them actually know the guy, and you got to kind of cheer for them. Neeb, even if he was going to live in Korea, which he does occasionally, I don't think he gets very social, much less so with like the Koreans. So they don't really care to see him win.
Well, I know that I'm really, regardless of who wins this matchup, Neeb or Impact, I think Denver or DNS are going to provide very formidable opponents, and we'll get more into them once we cast their series too. But this is going to be a really interesting finals for the season of Ting, without a doubt. Also, big thank you to Hakum721 for that Twitch Prime sub, joining us bright and early here at 7 a.m. Things starting a little bit later than expected, and well, we're finally rocking and rolling into it. Now, I guess it should be noted just for sake of history here, or however you want to phrase it, this is still the fresh patch 4.0, and the finals of this tournament will be finishing on fresh patch 4.0, so all of these potential changes that may equalize and balance the game, none of those are going to unfortunately, or fortunately, affect this tournament.
Yeah, the Oracle change wouldn't affect this matchup too much. Neither, well, the Infestor one might. But a lot of those new updates really seem more geared towards the PvT problem. Although all of the things exist in all the matchups that they're changing. So it's not entirely true to say that, but it definitely looks that way.
Yeah, the timing on Oracle may be slightly changed and tweaked, but I doubt it'll be by enough to affect this. I think, though, what's interesting, going back on what some of the Splice players are saying, with whole prediction of Impact and all this, Mana did beat Impact 3-1, to remind everybody. And some of the excuses, Solar, for example, was giving, like, oh, it's probably because of lag, right, cross-server. But the thing is, it's happening again. Like, we are still playing on the Americas server, West Coast, Impact versus Neeb type thing. I gotta say, like, Neeb's objectively, in my opinion, better player than Mana. I was surprised to see them all think Impact was gonna take the series.
Yeah, I feel like that's just words of encouragement, you know? So if Impact happened to be watching, he doesn't have to go like, what the hell, guys? Which I wonder if there's anything else he was going to do anyways at 1 a.m. He probably was watching. But I agree. I think that, okay, so West isn't as bad as, you know, Central, I suppose, is what the Mana and Impact are playing on. But yeah, there's still that. It's still kind of late. And Neeb is, I think, as well, a better Protoss player than Mana is. He just absolutely dominated so far. It's not like he's taking a break and his skill has decreased in the off season. He's still like dominating in some of the games so hard he wins with like a couple of adepts, right? Yeah. So did Hero against Denver, but then he still lost that series, so maybe it doesn't mean much. But Neeb looks on point. Big fan of Neeb, of course. Have been for a while on that America hype train. At any rate, things are starting to spice up a little bit. He does get caught here by Impact's Lings, but while killing 2 Adepts, of course the Oracles will keep the Lings from getting too much more, and getting the 3rd base up and running is far more important. I think one of the... Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, I think one of the really important qualities that I'm looking forward to, though, in this matchup is, unlike some of the other Protoss we've been casting and seeing, and especially through WESG that Maynard and I were casting the last 2 nights, a lot of Protoss still aren't using shield batteries, which blows me away. Neeb, though? Dude is captain of shield batteries. Guy went like, what was that, like 30 shield batteries in that PvP game? Like, he knows how to use shield batteries. Yeah, he went a lot. Stats seems to be the one Korean at the very least. Like, I haven't seen too many foreigners Protoss at this point, just Mana and Neeb, really. Who consistently gets shield batteries, not just at his 3rd base, which is most important, but also, like, you know, default in his man and natural, in case there is harassment. Not if he scouts, there will be harassment, you know, and it seems really safe. I was going to talk about Neeb's last series, but this is more important. He's got an attack on the way, but even, like... Attack's underway, man. This has already killed all the queens. This actually might win him the game just because only Hydras are on the way out. Impact's going for an all-in here. And he's already going to, like, lose a handful of Hydras if he's not careful right now, protecting them with the Lings. The problem is, what do you do with these Adepts? Do you transfer? Do you cancel? Goes for the transfer. Hydras are in the wrong spots. The Lings are going to get taken out pretty quick. Without that backup for them through those Hydras, these Adepts are going to get away with a lot of Ling kills. Yeah, well, the Oracles might want to go back into the 3rd base. Okay, they decide not to. There's only one Spore Crawler, but... doesn't seem like it'd be worth it. Has he seen that this is not just a response to his attack, though? That it is going to be an actual attack on him very shortly? I mean, I think Protoss always expect a counterattack once their Adepts are dead, but especially what Impact's doing, he's been preparing for this for a while. Well, I just checked out Neeb's vision, and I think the big thing is, like, he got to see all 3 bases fully and entirely. No Evo chambers in sight. Nothing else with this. You gotta assume it's an all-in. There's nothing, no like 3 gases, no Evo chambers. Like, what else could that possibly be for? Yeah, severe lack of drones. Probably the most obvious in the 3rd base. I really like this. The forward shield batteries, I think, are going to be incredibly crucial. This fight's around 2 different chokes instead of being tied back into his natural, and it still keeps him out and about so he can go to the 3rd. Shield batteries, for their current cost, whether you think it's imba or not, either way, they're pretty essential to holding a lot of these fights. And frankly, they can look a little ridiculous sometimes. Nice force fields. Wow, that was pretty good. Taking on a large chunk of those Lings. Big revelation. That's important too. He doesn't want to know where the army's going to attack, either left or right, or through the center. There's a couple of different options, but the rocks should be broken down on the left side, so I don't have to worry about that as much anymore. But the revelation will tell him anyways. Oh, I guess there's a stasis trap here. Didn't quite see that. More of them coming down. Of course, some of them are going to be triggered ahead of time, but reducing any of the Hydras, like 3 or 4 getting caught by these stasis traps is still great. Like 1, 2, 4, obviously 10, whatever the number is, going to help out Neeb a lot. He does have a couple of shield batteries here, so he's not without them. A little too far forward. I mean, protecting your stage traps is one thing, but he loses a sentry there.
Oh, he doesn't have charge yet on these zealots. They can't really engage. If they're by the shield batteries, they might be able to walk their way in, but the shield batteries are using all the energy on the immortals so far.
Whoa, Neeb has a ton of chrono boost. This seems like a huge mistake. Like
he's not using that charge. He's not using that +1. Of course, he's be a little distracted right now. Oracle's trying to take the fight to the north, but the Hydra's tear right through him. Not enough force to zone these out. Tries to catch him in, but the immortals are all that really remain, and the shield batteries are out of juice.
There might just be enough left over. The immortals are losing their heart and shields, though, and there's just not enough charge lots to kind of take out most of these Hydras. It's gonna be very, very close, but the micro and the immortals ends up being just enough. The Hydra's dying so quickly after losing that Link fodder.
There's something really interesting with this for Impact, though. First off, he killed 21 probes. Good. Got some damage. He needed to do some damage with that attack. But he's swapping out to Aspire for this. I find this really interesting because, of course, Neeb is going primarily Zealots and Immortals, as we've seen. And I think Impact recognized that in the engagement. If there's not many Stalkers and there's not much anti-air, Mutas could really just run, like, rampant on this map.
Yeah, after losing all the Oracles, what is going to be really scouting here? The sentries are all dead, or they would have been dry either way. And
he also picked off the Phoenix, the one Phoenix that came into Graviton Beam.
Yeah, that's this is a really good follow-up. Impact definitely doing enough damage with that Hydra bust, and I just keep looking at all the Chrono boost that was saved and wonder if that was the huge difference maker. Chrono is really powerful. Yeah.
I do like that he keeps enough on one Nexus for a recall if he needs to, but other than that, he's starting to use it now. The main's been drained out. This one's not quite used much, but I think this attack going across the map, if he gets caught out, a recall is going to be his best friend, and I hope he doesn't use too much Chrono trying to play catch-up now.
The attack can be a good thing. The mute account's still really low, and if he sees them, he can kind of get more preparation. Shield batteries are already pretty good, but, you know, a cannon in each line is very, very safe. But I mean, there's no Warp Prism. They're Banelings, you know, explosive. Recall wouldn't really work against those. Be very careful with how he takes this fight.
I like those force fields. I like those force fields a lot, actually. Better than fully walling off, because it makes it choke.
But it's not going to last long enough.
Can he recall out? Those Banelings will hit him if he does. Oh, he's going to try to. And he does barely get it. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh my goody gosh.
I wonder. Yeah, I guess they would have recalled just barely in time. Those Banelings are awful close. If they had speed, which had just kicked in, I think that they would have been able to collide. But now they're going for a counter anyways. Going through the middle of the map, looking for that army out of position.
Neeb's definitely in some trouble here. His army supply is just not that great, but the type of supply he has really isn't too bad. The Banelings, if they take out all the charge slots, then I think Neeb's gonna just sleep with the fishes. But if he controls this perfectly, and Neeb is a guy who's all about control. He's got +3 on the way. He's got Blink. There is an actual follow-up to this, as long as he doesn't die to an attack out of Impact. But the attack out of Impact is coming now.
Yeah. Archons are one thing, but Storm is usually what you really want against, you know, especially a mass amount of Banelings. If Impact just had enough gas, or actually enough minerals, he has enough gas, enough minerals to just build like 20, 30 Banelings. Wonder if you could just give him a big old hug and still win. But not really that many Banelings, enough that the Archons can actually soak most, if not all of them up. But that's exactly what happens.
I think Neeb was banking on the fact that the shield batteries would repair that damage, but the shield batteries, unfortunately, unpowered, full energy. Oh no.
Yeah, that would have been really helpful for the Archon specifically. Neeb's going to tap out.
There's some damage going on in the natural at the same time, and this is a good start for Impact. Takes a 1-0 to kick off the series.
Unexpected.
Perhaps. I think there's one thing we can account for, at the very least, in with the loser's pick element to this that we've implemented. It should provide a better chance at comebacks no matter who's on the losing side. And for those who don't know, while we've done set map vetoes for every series of the tournament so far, with this being a best of 7, all maps will get played if it goes 7 games. And making it loser's pick makes it a little bit easier to manage and a little bit spicier too on the return.
Well, for me, it's not just the 1-0 that is unexpected as someone who thought that Neeb was going to win. I mean, sure, Impact gets a couple of games. He's a good player and all. It's just how Neeb ended up losing that game. The Adept and Oracle harassment seemed good. He obviously knew it was on its way, but the lack of Chrono Boost, like he had 3 Chrono Boosts to use, or maybe even 4 if he didn't save for a recall, and that could have been charged, even done, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's a pretty good spell.
I will actually say I'm most surprised that that was the case. We can go whenever they're ready, by the way. Because Neeb, I think, has been the most, I don't want to say outspoken, it's like the wrong way to say it, but he's been really adamant about Chrono Boost, and even cracking jokes off about it too, like, he knows how big of a deal Chrono Boost is. So for me, it's weird to see that be perhaps the core mistake.
Yeah. Perhaps just emphasizing shield battery placement too much. Like, it sounds like really weird to say it that way, because like, how hard could it be? But he was like almost over preparing shield batteries and gateways, and perhaps just kind of forgot about Chrono Boost. I don't know. Well,
we're going to get into the intros for game number 2. Big thank you to Terminator through 500 bits our way to say better than Saturday morning cartoons. Heck yeah, dude. And then Black Spade Camo, thank you for the 200 bits. Medic. And I guess we'll explain the story of Impact being here for those who missed it in just a moment. But big thank you to our sponsors for covering this tournament, as well as this player spawning to the top left. It's TING's Neeb.
In the bottom right, as the red Zerg, he is Impact at Pixels.
All right, real quick story about Impact, guys. For those who don't know, Impact did, in fact, lose to Mana in the round of 8, and Impact was out of the tournament entirely. Mana, however, we knew going forward was going to possibly have some conflicts, and the way it worked out was, like, the sponsors, and frankly, myself, too, with this, agreed we didn't want to do any replays for the live finals, and that was how it was going to play out, no matter how Mana played this, because he would miss a match due to another tournament, so normally, under any other circumstance with any other player, we would just disqualify him, take the forfeit, they'd get no prize money, and we'd move on without him. But Mana has been such a regular player. He's never broken a rule. In fact, he's gone above and beyond to be out of his way excellent in all cases. And I said this in the twit longer, I'll just say it again. We don't reward bad behavior, but we also don't punish good behavior. So with Mana, we just accepted an honorable disqualification. He takes Impact's loss. Impact advances over him, and Mana will still get prize money for the tournament. But he obviously isn't going forward in the tournament at this point.
Really sucks about that. Mana taking it over Impact was a big surprise, and it'd leave top 4 being all foreigners, all non-Koreans.
It's kind of cool, though. This creates a very, very interesting story, not just in the drama that was Mana no longer competing, but also in the fact that, if Impact comes back as a Korean, resurrects, and still loses, then all foreigner finals. That's pretty hype. But at the same time, if Impact comes back and he were to win this whole tournament from being dead, that's also a really cool story in and of itself.
He's got to do it for Korean pride.
He's got to represent, man. All the dead Koreans and Terrans.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe Neeb just shaking off the rust a little bit. He's not so much a morning player as he's a night player. And he was awoken prematurely to his usual schedule.
What's nice, though, is for all the players competing today, it is only one match. They don't have to sit around and wait for a loser's match or move on to the finals. All that's happening tomorrow. So, got some love coming in chat. Thank you, Baby Fo, for that Twitch Prime sub. And then Akuma Di Diablo, I didn't shout him out earlier, but he made all these Splice players sub to BaseTradeTV, and now Hero as well, apparently. Thank you much, dude.
These players suddenly have emotes, and they're just like, what the hell's going on?
I still love Stats Fighting is like one of my favorite emotes on Twitch. I wish that thing was global.
Okay, Impact is going for a 2-base lair here. This is something that Neeb has not scouted. Ooh. He didn't actually go to the 3rd base either, just assuming that it's going to be there, and has held off on scouting. No Adept Aggression, no Sneaky Probe, until his Oracle, which will scout in time. It's already like, all right, would have liked to have seen that 3rd base, would have liked to already started thinking, like, what in the world could he possibly be doing? And I was going to say, I'm thinking the Swarm host, Nidus Swarm. We saw this on this map before.
Scarlet did it. It was disgusting. It was awesome. And I hope that's what he's doing. What's cool about this, though, is this build, like, if Neeb had come in with just a Probe Scout or something, as we saw happen, you don't actually check the bottom right base. You don't know for sure that this isn't 3 hatcheries. You could assume, but assuming would get you killed.
Yeah. The Oracle, obviously flying, it should be able to see something. Seeing a 2-base lair, and you know it's 2-base because it's just so quick. Oh my god. These queens do an excellent job denying vision of the Nidus Swarm, but still seeing the infestation for this early is a tell enough.
Yeah, nobody's rushing out infestors like this unless maybe it's Denver or somebody playing, but this is, for Neeb, he's going to have to do a bit of guesswork. I think at this point, if you've seen enough of these games, like the Phoenix is sitting over here already looking for Overlords, you have a decent idea what's possibly in store. He now confirms it too with that Oracle coming in. No, I take it back. He saw the Infestation Pit, which is weird still, but not the actual Nidus Worm.
Yeah, he really should know it's a Nidus Worm. I mean, he lost to Rogue, actually, since Rogue really, I want to say, popularized it, if not like, actually made this concept up.
I wonder if that's why specifically Impact's doing this too. He's just like, look, this is a build that we know can beat Neeb. Let's do it.
I do think it's also fairly strong on this map just in general. I mean, the map layout of your opponents is kind of obnoxious with the easy access to the main through the Overseer is right now, and the other Nidus Worm, yeah, goes over here.
That Overseer is going to die though, so he's not going to have that secondary access point for now at least. A Ling may run over and we'll see it plant down on this side, but the Changeling that did get through to the main, I was really worried Neeb wasn't going to see, but he did kill it with a probe. So there's not going to be a Nidus Worm in the main, at least not for now.
Good attempt to bait all the Locusts, but I don't know if Impact also like counter microed or what.
I think he did. That's also a good move out of Impact. It's also worth noting, guys, the Silentium shield batteries are good, but not that good. Locusts apparently have the damage to out DPS a shield battery. It's maybe one of the only things in the game they can.
Yeah. Well, so it's never the first Nidus Worm that really does a lot of damage, and Impact's not doing this. I don't want to say correctly, but not the way I expected.
No, a big part of this is actually not necessarily on him, but Neeb shutting it down. Like, Impact really wanted to. He's 3 times now sent a Zergling or an Overlord or something here, trying to get the Nidus on the edge of the cliff. He takes the other edge. This, unfortunately, is not an optimal place to launch the Swarm Host. This kills the damage. I think Neeb's just done a better job at shutting this down than necessarily Impact pulling this off poorly, but I also don't agree that, like, Impact has not done this perfectly either.
Yeah,
oh,
I mean, it's
Phoenix are so good!
It looks like she just stopped too. It's a good point about the Phoenixes. Like, they're seriously looking for Lings to lift up right before Impact, you know, remembers to put a Nidus Worm over there. But that is the power of the 2nd and 3rd and 4th attack, is that you have 2 Nidus Worms to dodge in and out of, and you're dealing damage in places that they can't respond to very quickly.
Alright, he's used a couple of Locusts over at home. These should help clean up some of the adapts, but taking some drone loss is going to suck. Impact's already so far behind in workers. I mean, no matter what classification you want to give this, it's still an all-in. There's no real... There's no real follow-up to this. He's trying to make drones now, but he's already so far behind.
Yeah. I mean, the loss of Adepts is a little painful, but he's already stopped 2 Locust waves. I'm not going to stop this one. He just cleared up the Nidus Worm. The
problem is by the time these land, they're already half dead. They just don't carry the same threat of damage that they otherwise would from the other location.
Yeah. Instantly 8 probes go down.
Stormers are pretty good. I'm surprised though, there we go. I was gonna say he's had oracles. I'm surprised he didn't start cleaning up the Nidus Worm sooner, but both of the Nidus Worms have been taken out at this point, and Impact is looking to be in a spot of trouble. He's going for Roaches with Burrow and Tunneling Claws, which is not a terrible idea, but Roaches and Swarm Hosts, this is not a classic composition by any means.
Neeb has dealt with this so perfectly almost that I do feel like this is the equivalent of like a Ling Baneling bust dealing no FCV damage. This is not a good game for Impact to try and recover from. 3 bases barely, and that 3rd is the reduced mineral ones. Neeb has that base too, but he's also already looking towards a 4th because he's just not taking much damage.
I really love the Phoenix response to this, though. I didn't ever consider that they'd be able to kill the Locust in the air fast enough, but that was a really cool thing to see as well. But as you also mentioned earlier, I'll back up the point, guys. These attacks, they don't win through the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th Nidus Worms. It's the 5th, 6th, and 7th that the game gets super deadly, and Neeb is a little out of position for this, so Locusts get back towards the main. Nidus Worm over here is taken care of. Another wave of Locusts coming out, too.
Well, the main can be torn up a little bit, considering that Neeb's going to be on 4 base 67 probes. When he loses the Nexus, that's pretty painful, but like a gateway here, shield battery there, 5 probes, like that's not such a big deal.
I have no idea who these Korean names are, by the way. I'm just going to assume that Akuma D Diablo's giving us a bunch of like Korean pro subs.
Yeah. I don't like instantly know them either, but that's what I assume.
Well, thank you for the mini sub train we got going on. Choo choo. It's like 7 pros that have subbed to us today, thanks to Akuma D Diablo.
Yeah. Oh, another Nidus Worm. I mean, a frontal attack combining all of Impact's army sounds good and all, but 20 armor supply really isn't that much of a benefit against a Protoss player. Now, when you have like this type of composition, which Swarm Host only can help out once every 40 seconds or whatever.
Yo, the Tunneling Claw Roaches might just cut it here, Zombie Grub. There's so much attention spent on the Swarm Host and the Nidus Worms. He's got no detection in the main. He's got no detection in the natural. And these Roaches are going to need to be dealt with immediately. He can no longer deal with the Locust if he's dealing with the Roaches. 3 per base. Oh, this could be bad.
Yeah, instant reaction from Neeb, but he's got to split his army now 4 different waves, 3 bases, and 4th being the Nidus Worm that just popped off to the left. But Impact doesn't have a ton of army to follow this up with, so this is a lot of time. This is a lot of damage, but perhaps Neeb can clean this up and still get in position before he loses an actual base.
I just want to point out how sick this shield battery is, by the way. It saved the life of 2 probes 10 times over. But the observers are here. The roach is going to be dealt with. The harassment, no doubt in my mind, the harassment game from Impact has been so sick. Unfortunately, as you've also mentioned, though, there hasn't really been a solid follow-up. This, however, did pull 3 bases of probes off of mining for a small period of time, and for the first time in 10 minutes, Impact is actually winning the income war.
Well, that's good news. Another Locust Wave doesn't do too much. Yeah, just pulling the probes, pulling the army away. A Nidus Storm has been cleaned up. This one should be cleaned up by the Oracles. I'm guessing he hasn't remembered that the Oracles were over there and just got them rebound.
Impact's going for lurkers behind this too. I didn't even catch that follow-up. I mean, detection, okay, detection's out now. The lurkers won't be easy peasy mode, but that's still going to be really cool to see how he uses them.
Yeah, the Phoenix threat, is still there for the lurkers. You can't just like pop them out and burrow them immediately. That would get them killed. But with that many Hydras, if he does have a frontal attack or just all the Nidus Worms finally come together and he pops out from either one of them with the entire army, well, that's a difficult position to break.
This is really interesting going forward. Colossus 2 at a time are going to be really essential to mow through the Locust waves to deal with the Hydralisks. But the fear is lurkers can still chunk through those Colossus. This is... I really want there to be this like epic battle of crazy proportions coming in with just like A move versus A move. Both players have a really interesting army that we just typically don't see. Swarm hosts and lurkers, I don't know the last time I saw these two pair up ever.
It's a lot of... It's a lot of ranged siege units that Neeb's gonna, as I said, like the positioning is gonna be key here. If it's in his main base, burrowed and with locusts, he's not gonna break his own main base. If it's out here in the middle with the violet squares, like kind of complicating things.
Neon violet squares?
Literally the violet squares, yeah. Then then I think it is doable, but Neeb has to be in position, and that's just so difficult to do. Even with the Oracles have had other jobs. They haven't really gotten a lot of revelations off.
Gonna try and focus down the cannon. Shield battery's helping out a little bit, but still chunking through the detection.
No.
Oh my god.
I don't think he realized how many lurkers were there. He's gonna have to give up this 4th base, I believe.
Swarm hosts are here too. They'll be coming off cooldown shortly because a lot of them had used the harass previously. There we go. See if he launches those locust waves or not. But he's gonna have to fall back. His Phoenix is picking up. Lurker's not in range. Now burrowing forward on the top of the Colossus. There's a bit of detection. He starts lifting him out of the ground. Neeb with a great response to this. He's dealing with Impact's attack very well.
Yeah, the Observer was never in danger of being sniped without an Overseer. And Impact, his army was pretty split. The Lurkers having to reposition like that was a huge lack of damage.
But you know what?
Either
if
way,
Hive Tech
cleans it up, but it would have been a bit closer of a fight. Because where there's, well, yeah, I guess the upgrade would have been a big difference maker, but didn't have it, and now Neeb like won that so well. I think a counterattack could win him the game, especially if you got a Warp Prism.
I think so too. Even without it, this Colossus count might be a little bit much. By the way, really dumb. Do you know what the Lurker upgrade is called?
Fast legs. I don't know.
Okay, so you know how Blizzard went from like super nice with Scrambler Missile to super complicated with Interference Matrix?
Sure.
Lurkers are just called Digging Claws.
Digging.
It's like the Sandbox Baby upgrade.
Oh, that's a lot of Colossus.
It is, and some of them can't even get in range to fight. There's so many. However, what's interesting is the Lurkers have created an interesting stopping point. Once the Phoenix stopped lifting them, they actually started causing trouble, and all the fodder for Neeb's army is now gone. This is where that Warp Prism would have been really effective. Love the recall here. Gonna barely save all those Colossus. Oh, hello, guys. What are you doing?
I think the High Templar were revealed with that creep tumor, but damn, were they close.
That would have been a huge pick off for Impact. 4 Templar going down, all with Storms primed would have been sick. But at the same time, I kind of almost wish Neeb had gone in with 2 and just stormed the mineral lines.
Man, that would have done a lot of damage. But Neeb over-committing, definitely. Now withdraws, has a 5th base, cleans up that Nidus Storm that did minimal counter damage, really. And still looks to be in a winning position. Impact's just started his hive.
Yeah, what's worth noting is that fight from Neeb was probably the actual first fight he's technically won this game, because the rest of this game over the past 10 minutes has been Impact with the supply through army lead. So Neeb's finally really getting ahead in more than one way.
Well, this has been a very, I think, typical game, even though the build has been atypical. the actual way the Protoss players have been forced to play is what we expect for a Protoss player, right? Like solid defense, solid multi-pronged harassment defense into a big hulking Colossus death ball. So like very old school. And that would make sense that Impact's had the winning on the victories on the graph, but not in the actual game.
Yeah, we got some folks in chat asking about the Templar Pew Pew. I guess we should explain. Templar have very low weapon damage. That's 7 damage per 1 shot with level 3 upgrades. This was a weird buff that they gave the Templar, though. Not because it does any damage, but because it doesn't A-move them to the front of the lines as they derp forward with no attack. It's a cool change. That's the type of change I wish we had more of in StarCraft 2. It's not game-breaking, but it fixes a problem.
Oh, this attempted muta harassment just shut down completely. Things were never really cleaned up. I think he lost maybe 2 or 3 of them. But while there are Vipers on the way and a Greater Spire, I don't think they're out in fast enough or in high enough numbers, whatever he's going to be getting here. There's Blinding Clouds, Abducts, or definitely not Broodlords anytime soon.
I guess, you know what's weird to consider? You could Parasitic Bomb a Colossus.
Yeah.
And would actually strip all of its shields and be like an EMP. But Abducts work too if you can get the damage. Unfortunately, the damage does not appear to be here. Blinding Cloud's going down a little bit out of desperation. Neeb is storming his own units, but who the hell cares when you've got this big of a lead? 3-2 on the upgrade scale, and everything here is getting wrecked. A small attack on the other side of the map, but a shield battery and cannons looking to hold on to this base.
Does he have an observer? Yeah, he still has an observer. Thought maybe the Corruptors would have sniped it, but didn't get the chance to, maybe.
Between the Colossus and the Archons, these Locusts don't stand a chance.
This is game. Impact, you know, he almost brought it back. That was a lot to deal with for Neeb. Not just the Nidus Runes, but the Roach Telling Claws and then the Lurkers. I mean, that would have snowballed had Neeb had any worse defense at any one of these points.
I love that this is already 1-1, guys. We're going to go to a quick commercial break of just 2 minutes. When we get back, Game 3, loser's pick. We'll see you soon. Welcome back. We're getting into game number 3, and before we get into the introductions, I do need to sell out for just a moment, because without our sponsors, this tournament wouldn't happen. $5,000, 4 seasons deep, and Ting, of course, makes this happen with a lot of generosity in mind. Good folks, good people. They're a US-only mobile phone service, so if you guys are watching on Wi-Fi, sitting at home, sitting at college, and you're in the United States, and you want to get some really cheap phone bills, maybe even reduce the cost of your current one, consider checking out Ting. With $25 in credit, you can go to bttv.ting.com and basically try out Ting for a month for free. It's awesome. By that being said, let's get to the intro. Spawning here in the top left, but taking a quick gold base, it's Dead Pixels Impact.
In the bottom right is the yellow Protoss. He is Ting's Neeb.
Good guys, Ting. Love telling the story. I won't go into the details, but you know, we started season 1. We suggested they pick up Neeb hand in hand. Both the pickup of that player and the tournaments run through us have been so successful for Ting. And I'm really glad to see that they're still at it 2 years later. I'm very excited to do 2018 because I'll let you guys know we're at 20. I want to say I'm going to say the wrong number here and get in trouble, I'm sure. I think it was 22 or 23 signups, one of those 2 numbers, out of 30. And of course, if you guys don't know how it works, basically once we get 30 signups, whether it's today, tomorrow, a month from now, 6 months from now, that's what's going to give us the power to do season 5 with Ting. And I do hope we get to keep doing continual seasons with this great company.
Yeah, it's an awesome tournament. And people really seem to enjoy it, but that is the gold base being scouted.
And even if it wasn't, it would be now.
Yeah, one's being transferred. More often than not, it is an aggressive attack beyond this. You can take the third base, not really drone it, do Ling Hydro or just Lings or something like that. But there's a chance that this does go into a macro game. Just like tried and true, no attack whatsoever. And that's what Neeb really has to keep his eye on.
I don't think the gold base... It used to be a bigger threat. Back when the map pool and the state of the game was like overgrowth and all these other things, you really were forced to play around your opponent taking a quick gold. Nowadays, I don't know. It's not so bad to deal with, but this is still a nice boon to income for Impact. In fact, skyrocketing ahead now after being behind Neeb's chrono boosts for the first few minutes of this game.
Yeah. As I said, there's usually an attack, right? And this is going to be the Ling attack. I mean, the third base is going to come down too greedily from Neeb because every Protoss would expect an attack off the gold base, but sometimes Protoss players still make that mistake where it looks so tempting to destroy the gold base, to, you know, say you can't do that. This isn't, you know, I don't want you to do that. So they send Adepts out, they send Oracles out, they even like fully commit sometimes in the lower leagues, like with an Immortal or something like that. And that just doesn't really work when you end up losing your army, not being able to expand, and they just gain, you know, a lot of momentum off of it. So these Adepts have actually got to be kind of careful. If they just are lost here, and it might just be, I mean, Impact already with speed and enough lings to deal with this.
Good catch here in the middle of the map with that transfer.
It just forces the lings out that Impact can now use to check the third base repeatedly.
Looks like a couple got here in the main, so a little bit of headache for Neeb as he has to micro around this. He's doing a good job microing around it though, still loses a probe. But of course he can't spend too much time chasing this link because he's got to focus on that front door. He might even have to build in a bit more of a wall. That shield battery, I don't know finish in time. Yeah, he wasn't sure either, but looks like he's got it now.
Impact.
Interesting.
Just droning.
This Neeb canceling buildings is I like it because obviously he doesn't need them. It's like having a spine crawler complete. If you don't need it, it's a waste of money. But the shield batteries I think wouldn't have been bad to let complete anyways. Also his door's currently open. A little bit awkward.
yeah, it is.
He flies open, Neeb.
Okay. No, he realizes it now as he tries to take his third base. I mean, since, you know, no more lings are produced, Neeb, you know, understands that it is actually one of those rare, super just macro games. Impact made enough lings to deal with the Adepts, and that was it. He didn't continue making more, and he doesn't really have that much to deny the third base even. He goes into a fourth really quickly here, and is just trying to get a huge economic edge. Neeb needs to get this down as soon as possible.
I've just had the weirdest, I don't know how this works moment. If a Zergling's blocking out the Nexus, and you Graviton beam it, A, can you actually build underneath the link that's Graviton beamed? Does it still count as blocking? And B, if you can, what happens when you drop the link? Where does it go?
It just lands on the side of the Nexus. I think I've actually done this before.
Oh, okay.
It just lands on the side. Like, yeah. But if it's picked up, you can definitely put the buildings down.
It's one of those interactions I don't think I've ever actually seen in a cast. So I was like, huh, wonder how that goes. By the way, just a quick side note on my lack of knowledge here. Tomorrow, we have the third place match, then an intermission show match with myself and Jesse, and then the grand best of 9 finals. So if you ever want to see how bad Rifkin is at StarCraft, tomorrow's the time.
Good deal.
I'm going to play like 3 games tonight for practice and regret everything. Because Jesse's playing Protoss. I don't stand a chance.
You'll be... Well, if you really are the better player, you'll be fine.
Well, I'm the better battlecruiser maker. That's full stop where that goes.
So we have Ling, Hydra, Baneling on the way, +1 melee is what they finished up, and Impact has found himself in a pretty decent position, getting 4 bases so easily. It's something that Neeb wasn't able to punish, but you kind of, as I was talking about earlier, you kind of have to just realize you're not really going to be able to punish it without committing too much. You just try and match it, you know? You try and do a bit of harassment with the Adepts. I don't know if we'll fully commit to this. But then you just try and match it with your own economy.
Ooh.
It's getting a little bit quicker, get upgrades a little bit quicker. He's going to commit to this.
Saw the Banelings, he had to transfer through. The Zerglings are dealt with pretty quickly, but the Oracle's focusing the Banelings is really sick. The focus fire on the Neeb is good.
It actually doesn't end up killing a couple of those Adepts. That's really bad news since Impact was low on Lings, but those Oracles are so close to killing every single one. Now a Queen, yeah, even getting a couple of these last shots.
Still though, for Impact, a couple of drone kills is bad. Right now, while his gold base is riding strong, his income is fine with his worker count. But once his gold base mines out, and it will soon, 48 drones isn't going to cut it.
Yeah, well, once the gold base, for sure. That was some nice pressure. With the drone pool, Neeb has spiked, and he's taken his 4th base behind that. So he dealt with the Lings, and he did a lot of economic damage. That was a win-win for him. And Neeb has just played his game, basically. The fact that Impact took a gold base hasn't really changed it up too much. Even the 2 Adepts wasn't so much the gold base as it was a typical, PvZ move.
By the way, big thank you to Teofila Rage, Filaragi, however I say that, for the Twitch Prime sub. Glad to have you on board. And then Black Spade Kamui, aka Black Spade Kochi, says with 300 bits, just cheese hard, Riff. As if there's any other way to play. How have your mech adventures been going, by the way?
They've been alright.
I'm asking mostly because does it work versus Protoss at all?
Yes, especially Protoss. Like, look, in like anything below Pro, Protoss is not that bad, first of all. And then second of all, it's still not popular, so most Protosses are dying to the first 4 cyclones that you make. Because they're just like, what are you doing?
Alright. Now, Jesse, all jokes of previous seasons aside, he's actually not terrible at the game, so that's where I do get a little worried.
But he does obviously get tripped up by new things.
Yeah, I just have to play off meta, I think, to screw him up.
Yeah, I think he'll be good.
Well, these Lings still being very annoying running around, but Neeb put up a really awesome gateway wall. No shield batteries with this, but also none really needed. He's just keep the gateways up and strong. More gateways than he needs, but it creates a really awesome wall for him to sit behind comfortably. Patrolling the middle of the map of the Oracles, looking for revelation. Not gonna find anything but death.
Rip. That overseer's gonna get taken out, and while the Oracle died, at least scouted the attack was on the way.
Oh, this isn't a fight Impact wants to take yet, and I think he realizes that too. There's a lot of force fields with this army, and if he fights on a ramp, this could go bad for Impact very quickly. He just doesn't know about that sentry count. I think he saw the Immortals, I don't know if he counted, like the 6 full energy sentries.
A lot of force fields. And like 1 or 2 more chrono boosts, and Neeb's also gonna have some really good upgrades.
I really like Neeb leaving his base guarded at the gold as well. There's actually stalkers and a shield battery here, so there should be no problem dealing with Lings. But Impact's trying to come in from 2 different angles. Top side of the ramp, force fields are looking pretty good, but the bottom side's completely undefended, and these Hydras get on the back side of the army.
Those force fields actually didn't come down fast enough. A couple of those banlings, the explosion still hit the sentries.
Oh,
but
Impact's
Colossus
one sandwiched.
Yeah, just in time with a bunch of Adept, and that quickly turned on Impact.
Call that one a double-decker sandwich, ladies and gentlemen. Impact gets the nice sandwich on Neeb, to which Neeb responds with his own counter. Now he's, as he pushes across the map through said counter, these Colossus, they're going to have extended thermal lance, they're going to have +2. These upgrades you talked about before, almost finished up.
That's all the upgrades too, like 2-2 just finished, but then more importantly, charge and extended thermal lance. That's a very good army. Impact's trying to get to Corruptors, trying to take out the Colossus, but it's also going to be about the rest of the ground army. Colossus could die, and he might still be able to win with just charge, Adept, Stalker. But he's not going to do any attacking yet, just expanding once again.
I really like that a single cannon is coming down. Excuse me, 2 cannons are coming down. He really won't need to segment any army to defend that gold, because it's... The thing I think Neeb's worried about most are just run-bys. Ling run-bys are going to be the scariest thing for him to have to worry about microing against, but between shield batteries and these cannons, it should be a non-issue.
Yeah, if Protoss gets shield batteries, Terran should really get the Shredder back.
You and I have this knowledge of like all these silly things from the beta that so many people will have never even seen, but we just know how deadly and stupid they are.
I mean, the Shredder was a Heart of the Storm beta. I wasn't even in early access Heart of the Storm beta.
I, for one, don't mind about anything except the Terratron. I want that to be real.
Never. Not even in co-op.
Google it, guys. Totally worth. I'm actually sorry. That would be the perfect ultimate for Mirahan instead of the space station blowing up. Why doesn't she have a Terratron? I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Well, the Lings are dealt with. This Warp Prism will eventually be dealt with. The Corruptor's on its tail, but Neeb is just doing some light pressure, some light scouting, while finishing up upgrades. Well, he saw the army, I guess, but that sucks.
Leaving that Warp Prism alive is actually a huge danger. I'm surprised Impact's done this. Like, even just 3 Zealots warped in. 4? Like, this is so bad for the main. This is where all the tech is. There's a lot of drones are. And, of course, those Corruptors are... Oh, they're so busy fixating elsewhere. He sees it now, and he heads back to the top left, realizing his mistake. But this opens up a possibility down to the south. Oh, I take that back. That's a hell of a lot of banelings. Run!
Give him a hug.
That was actually some really good control, though. That maximized splash damage. That was sick. But here's that Warp Prism. It's not going to be as deadly as it could have been, but it's still one of those things that Impact had to deal with. He could not ignore. Yeah,
that was a waste of minerals right there for Neeb, but Neeb is on 5 bases, 2,600 minerals. He doesn't care about mineral use. His gas is still need to be, you know, rationed a little bit wisely, but that's so many Templar.
Between the Templar and the Colossus, there's just so much splash damage in this army.
Yeah, this is This is too much. A mothership is on the way. I mean, I think Neeb could have done a counter and probably won this game, but just waiting for impact to come to him, he's gonna win it anyways.
My god, the storms are doing so much damage to these corruptors. Stalker's having no problem one-shotting him down. He's not even throwing down another storm. He could, but he's not going to. Lets the Colossus get picked off. Perhaps a bit of a mistake, but while this goes on, he's gutting the new base of impact here to the bottom left.
Fully upgraded. Impact's going to be on 2-2, both attack upgrades, but that doesn't mean very much when Neeb's up to be on 3-3-1. And yeah, enough of the army survived. Sure, the Colossus died, but he has so many storms that he could just go ahead and end this game, I feel.
Mothership coming out too to really seal the deal. Yeah, it's always been so interesting to me because it's been this way forever for this matchup. Zerg get armor versus Terran. They almost never do versus Protoss.
Not anymore. Yeah, you know, it started with the faster +1, and then they started also getting the upgrades for the missile attacks. And yeah, might as well see Carapace.
I just wonder if there's this degree of logic that's like, you know, Protoss hits so hard anyways, the armor really doesn't help.
I'm trying to think of armor would help against I mean, the Zealot dynamic has always existed in StarCraft against Lings. It's never changed, but...
Yeah, but here in the late game? GG. Neeb didn't even get the mothership out. But nice 2-1 lead now for Neeb. It'll be Impact's map choice again, as I'm looking at the wrong place. I don't know where my camera is. There we go. Oh, I see we have Apollo.
Fuzzy. Yes, you are.
I got to see my cat for like 5 minutes yesterday, and my heart broke. My parents bought a cage for her. Like,
a cage?
To be clear, let me explain this better. Like, it's a 4x3 cage, so it's fairly big. It's big enough to fit a litter box, a bed, and some snacks, and a water bowl. But she's, I guess, well, you know, I've moved out and all this. The peeing on everything has gotten worse. So they let her roam free during the day, but then they basically put her in the cage at night so she doesn't pee all over the place. And like, it's understandable and it's not uncomfortable. Like, it's big enough, and it was so sad seeing my cat in a cage though, man. It broke my heart. So
yeah,
I knew I was gonna get to see her for like 5 minutes yesterday, so I went to the gas station and I bought some snacks to give her. I kind of snuck them in. I'm like, don't tell mom and dad. I gave her like a good handful of treats.
That's cute.
Blackpink. Okay, so again, we can't play the intro for this one, guys, because I gotta redo it. But interesting choice out of Impact. Not a bad map. I guess whenever the players are ready, we'll hop into it. If you are just joining in on the broadcast, though, or you're tuning in for the front page, guys, we got a follower goal I'm really looking to hit on this broadcast. So do me a favor, if you haven't yet, hit the follow button, because we're so freaking close to 100K. In fact, what is it here? Like 200 something away? I don't want to do the exact math, but somewhere around that number. I fully have to believe we can get 200 followers this stream. I want to break 100K. Yo, I want to have 100,001 followers so I can make a douchey tweet that's like, guys, I now have over 100,000 followers. 100,000 plus.
Oh boy.
We only tell truths here on BaseTradeTV. Spawning here in the upper right, playing for Dead Pixels. It is the last standing Korean in this tournament. Impact.
In the bottom left is the yellow Protoss. He is Neeb.
Chat wants to know if we've seen Denver versus DNS yet. The answer is no. That'll be playing after this series. And I knew that, man, I was surprised. I had to go look up their Legulec. If you guys haven't done this yet, you should totally do it while we're waiting. I knew Denver and DNS had played like once or twice because I've seen it posted through Underdogs. I didn't realize just how many times they've played each other. Like, the answer is a lot. So what I'm kind of excited for is that's a dynamic then of two players who know each other very well. They know their builds in and out. And it kind of reminds me of like the Snoot versus Mana dynamic a little bit. So I'm really wondering if that semifinals is going to be PvZ or if it's strictly Denver versus DNS, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Mana versus Snoot. Well, that'll be the next series coming up. Neeb has shaken off whatever morning sleepies he has, I suppose. He's taken the last couple games in pretty dominant form, too. Let's have to pick up something new and crazy.
Actually, I feel a little bit bad, but also maybe a little bit good about that, too. I want to make this clear so everyone's aware. I messed up. I forgot to update the players about the new timing with the talk show taking place and all that. Because that was a last-minute thing, and we put it together, and of course, there's the whole Mana Impact thing, and I just got super distracted. So I felt bad. Neeb woke up this morning and was kind of like, I wish you would have told me I could have slept for another hour. okay, feel a little bit bad. And I know Neeb's not like a passive aggressive person, so he probably just legitimately meant like, I wish I could have slept for another hour. But at the same time, I'm like, good, well now you're awake. You're not going to be like rubbing your eyes during game number 1 at the same time.
Yeah. It's amazing though, like a lot of players, I mean, there's always been different types of competitors, like not just, you know, StarCraft 2 players, but just competitors in general. Some have to have hours of warm-up, some have no warm-up whatsoever. Some prefer even the feeling of being cold, quote unquote, like they just how they start their day. So I don't know, I feel like Neeb is that guy that just wakes up, goes to his computer and turns it on, right? And having to wait an hour, he probably laddered. Or maybe just stare at the computer for an hour.
I don't know how I'd be as a pro gamer, but as a streamer, I'm always awake at least an hour ahead of time. Gives me time to wake up, have a shower, warm up, test my voice, make sure I have a voice, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I can wake. I prefer usually just waking up at the last second.
I wish I could entertain that mentality. There's so many times where I think waking up at 3 a.m. wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't waking up at 2 a.m. But okay, a couple of adepts getting into the mineral lines. Transfer out. Not really willing to risk it. Excuse me, even though I've been awake for more than an hour, I'm apparently not awake yet.
Yeah, speaking of being awake, that is a lot of lings. With the battling nest, no drones on the third base.
No shield batteries.
Drones. Just like, that's not a lot. And I don't know if Neeb realized, there's nothing really to tell him.
Oh, he's not going to see it. Oracle's not going to see this one either. He might just miss the ling floods. By the time he gets here, they're going to be gone and past. Oh, this is so bad.
This is bad. Seeing a couple of lings every now and again is not that big of a deal.
Pull the adepts back.
Alright,
no splash damage, no bamboozles.
Bit of a block. Barely gets that block in. Oh, okay, but it's going to have to be killed anyways.
Still not enough. The Oracle comes in, he's going to try and clean up. This is going to be a tough hold for Neeb, guys. The Bailey does pop off on all the probes. Oh my god.
Oh man, if those probes were hit like that, maybe there's a chance he saves this game when they go back in the main. But losing 17 probes right off the bat, that's pretty good for him.
GG. The timing impacts impeccable way to move around the map. Like that was just ooh. I gotta tell you, the worst part about that was that third, man. That third probably threw Neeb off the most, if I had to guess. Like, worse than the not scouting. Because it's some assumptions you start making with it, but...
Yeah. It's that really just key timing where the Oracle, you know, if it takes a wrong pathway, that's really it. You know, it doesn't see the Baneling Nest in time, but it could have seen the Lings if it just took a slightly different path.
You were talking about the Shredder thing before. This is basically what the Zerglings became. Like, the probes tried to run through them, and they were just, like, meat grinded down. It was nasty. Whew. All right, well, folks, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we get back, it'll be Abyssal Reef for map 5. We'll see you soon. Welcome back, folks. It's game number 5. Reminder that this is a best of 7, so it's the first person to 4 points in order to take it and move on to the finals. It's worth noting that all 4 players you're watching today will be back to compete tomorrow, as there is a 3rd and 4th place match in the tournament. But these best of 7 semifinals are brutal. Spotted to the bottom right, it's the red Zerg player, Dead Pixels Impact.
In the top left, as the yellow Protoss, it is Neeb.
I was a little surprised how bad Neeb got caught off guard in that game, but the story, I think, of the week, much less the round of 8 as well, was really sometimes the just right all in is what you need. And that was pretty evident with Denver versus Hero, seeing that now again, Impact versus Neeb. It does make me wonder just like, how much more powerful is it to play all in instead of macro as Zerg versus Protoss?
I mean, I don't know if it's a race thing, although...
Well, I'm considering more just the fact that we see a lot of complaints about late game becoming more and more difficult from each race's perspective, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. There actually might be more all-ins for Zerg to do against Protoss than there are, as I'm thinking about like Terran all-ins. So maybe it is a bit of a race thing, but I really don't know where as you said, like everyone seems to be complaining about the late game. You know, we had Scarlet have a lot of difficult time against DNS, late game Protoss, but then you know the Protoss haven't won a single game in like WSG. Like it would be like what is it? What does it all mean? No one knows. It's the first 2 weeks of a new balance patch, and I think just as always, throwing your opponent off guard, no matter what your race, no matter how you do it, whether it's a Baneling all-in or like a Swarm Host Nidus Swarm, both are weird, both are cheesy.
Yeah.
You just got to gain your momentum back, and Impact definitely did that.
Well, taking the third quickly because of the probe shenanigans, just dodging past it. Now take it as natural. 3 bases for Zerg. Also kind of making a weird claw shape on the minimap. Let's get ET go home.
It's a very weird claw shape. So, you know, Neeb, I was going to bring this up in the first game, and then the depths came in and stuff like that, but Neeb had a difficult time against Solar. Initially, he had a great time, winning easy peasy, and then Solar went to these, like, lurker builds that kept on catching Neeb off guard. So Neeb is not as solid in a best of series as I think he was a month or 2 ago, where if he was winning, he would just actually close it out and win. And certainly not last game, Baneling all-in could you by surprise, hey, big deal. The other game that he lost, the first game that he lost, there was a lot of mistakes that maybe Impact can actually continue capitalizing on, I suppose, because it is set up 2-2.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Adept got out of there. So some might get caught though here in the middle of the map. Big thank you, by the way, to Siri1 for the 44-month sub. Glad to have you back on the channel. We're coming up on 50 months for a lot of these people. When's Twitch gonna start giving us like the 3-year and 4-year Twitch chat badges, man?
They have to fix the random unsubs.
Oh, I know. I saw Ann tweeting about that, and I checked my inbox, and I had been unsubbed to like 4 people. One of them was to BaseTradeTV, which I thought was hilarious because I shouldn't have to sub to BaseTradeTV in the first place, but.
Yeah.
So actually, on that note, if you guys don't know about this, a bit of a PSA, whether it's a bug or intentional, or I don't know what Twitch is doing, but people have been getting unsubscribed without manually unsubscribing to channels. If you're a sub to the channel, I would love if you checked into that, because there's nothing you can do but make sure to make a mental note or a sticky note to resub later, but very unfortunate that's been happening. Kind of cool out of Impact, but not so unsurprising. This is like his MO. I don't know any other Zerg player that's been so adamant about dropping. So this is something Neeb, if he had done any sort of like preparation or research, probably knows about, and that's where this Phoenix is going to be really awesome, just to drive that Overlord off. I'm
sure he's aware there's a potential, but Impact has not used it in 4 different games. So I think that's what the real kicker is. If this was game number 1, perhaps he had this on his mind, but game number 5, he's kind of forgotten about it, and it's a bit later too, so it really is just looking for harassment, not like kill potential.
This is like the perfect place to drop to. All the Lings unload. No shield batteries. Probes get pulled around this. Warpin's going to clean it up. It won't be the end of the world, but there's still just pulling the probes is already some good damage.
That was expertly handled. That didn't kill. They killed 1 probe? Killed 1 probe. Well, more importantly, perhaps, attack at the 3rd base. Poor little lone Adept trying to save, but not enough Lings to kill the Nexus, so not really getting a lot done, and continuing to make Lings here, and now coming piece by piece is really becoming a waste. Neeb was caught off guard, but he handled that as about as perfect as he can.
I agree. The probe pull and the micro there was really good. The other part of this too, though, is the Lings did draw the Oracles home. So these aren't harassing drones. These aren't picking off queens. There is something to be said for that, but now the Oracles are going in, and with 2 of them, picking up kills here should be relatively easy.
I mean, 2 Oracles do have the kill potential, you know, where usually if you only had 1, you aren't really looking for many drone kills anyways. But 2, they could have done something. They grab a queen, the micro on the other Oracle turns into a stasis trap.
That blocks out gas. That's actually nice.
Yeah, hopefully Impact remembers to put him back on.
I'll touch back on the stasis traps in a moment. Right now, we do have those Lings now trying to deal some damage, and drop Overlords number 2 and 3 coming out. So maybe going to ferry the queens across the map?
This feels a little too late, and not enough queens. He only has 2 queens. Yeah, I don't know. I guess 2 just to get that multi-pronged harassment in. The timing of his previous attack was a little off. Maybe going to pair it up a bit better, but his intention here is to go into a macro game, a lot of drones on the way, and a Spire. Okay.
Spire might actually work this time. The reason it didn't work the last time we saw it was because, you know, Neeb had already built so many Phoenix to deal with the Swarm hosts, so he didn't have to worry about swapping. He was just good to go, and he caught like 5 of the mutas right away. This game, there's like 1 Phoenix, a couple Oracles, and unless he scouts is coming, maybe this is a problem. But I really got to emphasize for those who haven't been watching, if you want to stop muta harass, just seriously build a shield battery in your mineral line. Like 5 or 7 mutas, don't cut it anymore.
Neeb is automatically going into Blink as opposed to getting charged. He never did a Resonating Laves opener or anything, so just Blink for that Twilight Council. Going into Colossus afterwards too, very typical Protoss composition. Blink, Stalker, Colossus, and whether he just wants to add this in, instead of, you know, he's been playing really well with Blink Stalkers, regardless of his scouting in other games. He might also just predict the Spire. You know, the Corruptors are becoming more of a staple in the matchup to take care of these Colossus.
You just confirmed it with the Oracles, so it's no longer a question mark, but a statement. Yeah, it's looking and smelling more like Corruptors for sure at this point.
Yeah. Maybe there would have been mutas if he was really convinced he could have gotten a surprise in. But yeah, everything else has been put on the production board, and it's got to be Corruptors.
Didn't see those Banleys coming, and neither did Neeb, but this picks up 10 probe kills. Nice moves out of Impact. Round 2 coming down from the south. Just worth noting because it's been asked in chat. Mutas were not nerfed. He is going mutas, actually. Mutas were not nerfed in any way. They haven't been touched in several patches, but shield battery is put in the game, and so good. And what is this rally out of this Overlord?
Maybe seeing the natural base unprotected, like, made him hope that the other bases would be too. There's a shield battery and a cannon over here, but even the main base doesn't have much going on for it, so the mutas can definitely target one of these bases and get a lot of damage done.
Well, shuts that down at least. Just to correct something, guys, because I really don't want misinformation spread. Mana did not forfeit the tournament. We chose to disqualify him. There is a considerable difference between the two things. But it was also mutual. We worked it out with him, and it was, yeah, he's tweeted about it too, so it's not a one-sided thing.
Well, Impact might not be doing much with this harassment anymore, just the couple 10 probes or whatever on the natural base. He is almost buying time. He's getting a lot of important structures and upgrades during all of this. I mean, so is Neeb, but Impact has been the one down in supply continuously and needing to buy time to something bigger and better, which looks to be at least lurkers. But now even adding an infestation pit, trying to go up to Hive.
I was asking why. I don't want to keep telling this story over and over. Can one of the mods make like a Y command linking to the Twit longer for what happened? The TLDR guys, Mana just couldn't play going forward. There's no drama to be had here. It's really plain and simple.
Yeah.
This Archon army is going to be a real nice buffer here on the front lines till those lurkers are out. Mutas are also just a little bit awkward because it's kind of like, what do you really do with them? Where do I put my hands?
Yeah, this is not enough mutas to actually take on a cannon and a shield battery, which Neeb did add to the natural. Not the main base, and that's what they're trying to go right now, but more importantly, Neeb is pushing in here, looking to end the game, and Impact has muta as part of his supply, not helping here. A couple of Lings tried to counterattack, didn't really work out, and Lurkers have to be in good position to help.
Yeah, the Lurkers are going to do great damage if they're ready to go. And as we see here, Neeb's actually turned away from the natural ramp. He's turned away from the 4th base, mostly because of these Lurkers. He could probably sacrifice army to chunk it down, but I think he's really worried about giving away too much. So he's kind of just playing pokey poke here. And that Colossus, a little far forward, even takes some damage from the Spore Crawler.
Bit of an odd push here.
Spore Crawler's gonna pick off the Observer. That's detection. Oh my god, it barely survives.
Barely provides enough range as well to actually take out that one Lurker, and Neeb has forced his way up the smallest choke possible.
I'm surprised too. I really thought this fight was gonna come down around the 4th. I thought that that was gonna be the opportune spot, spread out, easy peasy, good to go, but not the case, and he's actually dancing with these Lurkers really well.
Yeah.
It's too far gone at this point for Impact, I think. Supplies
I think
is
so.
crazy.
Yeah. I still can't believe that he forced his way up there. It looked so awkward. It looked like he even decided, you know, kind of already in there that, okay, now I'm really going to go. But it worked out. And now he's just reinforcing the Blink Stalkers.
Well, it appears all of our mods are asleep, guys, so I'll get that link updated in a moment. For now, though, this is, with Blink Stalker control really starting to spiral. Neeb has so many workers on the back end of this. GG, and I just want to point out 45 drones killed through that attack on top of the army. It was just so well handled out of Neeb. Now leading 3-2. Oh, there we go. Solidus Dubs got our back. Thank you, Solidus. Appreciate it, man. But yeah, if you guys want to learn more about what went on, you can check out either of those links. Should link to both of our Twitters. And we'll go to game number 6. We're almost close to ace match territory, but it is worth noting Impact is now officially on his last life. He cannot lose this next game.
Right. And if he wants to advance to the finals, these games have been not super short, but they've been very swift, you know? Like, no long, dragged-on 20-minute games because someone was pretty stubborn. So, this has been a series.
If you ever wanted to get a long, dragged-on game because someone was stubborn, saying those words is how you get it.
On Ascension to Ire. Maybe it'll happen here.
Maybe. Well, we got the intro for this one locked and loaded. It's Ascension to Ire Zombie Upset. As soon as... get into it. See you guys soon. Ooh, that's some good intro music. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's tied. It's not tied up. It's leading 3-2 for this guy in the top left. He's the representative of the sponsor for this tournament. Here for the TIG Open, it's TING's Neeb.
In the bottom right, as the Red Zerg, the last remaining Korean, it is Impact.
See, a quick recap and a reminder, guys. No matter whether Impact loses or wins, goes on to the finals, there is a 3rd, 4th place and a grand finals match all happening tomorrow morning. It'll be starting around the same time today did, so mark it on your calendar. And of course, there's even going to be a little bit of a Rifkin show match thrown in there, which I'm really not looking forward to. But we did reach the goal on the prize pool, so I've got to honor it. I know Jesse's really excited about it. He has seen all the things Protoss can do in this patch. But if you guys haven't, quick reminder to go to the Matcherino link, ! Matcherino chat. That's the prize pool for this tournament. Ting threw in $4,000 and some awesome prizes you could, or not prizes, I guess, store rewards you could purchase. And the best part is all those purchases go towards the prize pool. So if you spend 20 bucks buying a Ting t-shirt, 20 bucks goes to the prize pool. Ting is not taking a single cent in profit off of that. You're just paying for the shipping while contributing to the prize pool and getting a t-shirt out of it. It's a great deal.
I am not getting any alerts. Oh, there it was.
Borg, it kind of looks like Borger. Like, what happened when the Borg had some snot in his nose? He had a Borger. Thank you for the sub. As well as Black Spade Camo coming in. He's been sprinkling bits left and right this morning. Thank you for 200 more. It says, could just use a Raven auto. Oh, never mind. Feels bad, man.
The new Raven is different, but doesn't make me angry that they got rid of all the other spells. Just kind of makes me wonder why.
By the way, thank you very kindly to the Gorgon's Crown. Threw 30 bucks to my personal PayPal, which is cool and rare. So thank you.
Cool.
Shout out to that fine gentleman.
So the situation here, right? Impact's down to his last life. Chooses Ascension to Ire. I don't even remember what the last map would be. Battle on the Boardwalk. Haha. I knew it was going to be I was like, okay, what is the worst map that we have right now they haven't chosen yet? And that was an easy one. Battle on the Boardwalk is just a complicated map. It's not that it's bad. It's just really weird. But apparently it's Protoss flavored. Protoss flavored as well. What Protoss flavor tastes like? I want to say like tastes like the you know in 30 Rock where Jack wants to go to that really expensive place to get the dessert that costs like $10,000 because like there's gold sprinkles in it. Like, that's what Protoss tastes like.
Really? I was gonna go the other way. I'm like, it's probably just very salty.
No, people get salty at Protoss.
Protoss gets salty too. Actually, poor Stats is getting bullied on in the talk show today by Solar and TY while we're talking about balance. He's just like, they're both complaining about the Warp Prism, and I don't speak a single word of Korean, but I can see Stats just like, I feel bad about the Warp Prism.
Yeah, well, yeah, Protoss is being yelled at a lot today.
Feels bad with this patch. Blizzard alienating Protoss. Alienating the aliens. Overlord gets a really nice scout on this, by the way. Sees both of the Stargates. To see one is not a big deal, but to see two is huge.
Yeah, that is a big scout for that Overlord, but even if you know it's on the way, it doesn't seem to matter. Oh my god, I did that. That's what happened. It wasn't on the forefront. It was on the top of every other application, so now that I put it on top of every other application, I'm getting like sub after sub after sub notification. God.
Oh, I remember this happened last time you were telling me about it, right? Like it just like would play catch up for some reason.
I hadn't noticed that the last couple times. Oh, whatever. All right, now.
That's weird. I honestly don't know what would cause that.
I don't know. It's just mysteries abound, but it doesn't matter. I just had a lot of background noise.
Okay, well,
the group too.
Rock and roll, zombie grub. Void Ray comes out and clears out the Overlord pretty quick. Small supply block for impact. Man, I really can't speak today. But my concern here is that like this is going to be a lot of oracles. Whether you see it coming or you don't see it coming, it's still hard to deal with. And Impact's not going to be putting down 10 spore crawlers. He's not got enough queens to deal with this. There's no... whoa.
I was going to say I saw Roach Warren just finish, and I was like, well, that's not usually what you get. And it had to be an attack.
My comment that I was about to make as the Night Storm goes down was like, we still don't see a Hydra Den despite this layer. And I thought that was like his thoughts. Anti-air, double Stargate. But no, he's going to try and deal with the problem in a very different way. This is kind of cool. I'm not sure if this will work, but a Night Storm is a bold move. And I tell him back, good luck.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously Queen's gonna be anti-air here, and this should be attacking as the Oracle count's still rising, not at that, like, you know, unbeatable point of 10 or 12 or something like that. And, you know, transfuse are even gonna be available. Not too many, but some. But it's definitely holdable. And Neeb should be getting an idea of what's going on here soon enough. Like, they lack the drones at the third base. There's an odd number of Queens that chase down those Oracles.
Oh.
Although sometimes it's only the defense, but now he sees it now with the Stargates there.
I like this wall sort of thing he's created here. The scary thing about this Night Storm position though is it threatens the Stargate pylons. These are actually very exposed. Shield battery is sick, by the way. Not a single probe going down to these legs. Ah! But here comes the attack of the main. A lot of queens came out of this already. I love the stasis traps over damage. I think it's a way more efficient way to possibly deal with this.
Stargate might go down, and the other Stargate's not even being used. Just using production right now from there is dangerous, just relying purely on the gateways. He's even building more gateways. I mean, the process is actually taking a long time here, which usually favors the defender, the non-Nidus Worm user. It's really got to, you know, snowball very quickly for impact, and it's not so far, but adding on Ravagers now is really important.
I think Neeb knows just how all in this is, though. If he holds, he's going to be in such a good spot coming out of it, even with the Stargates going down. Shield batteries are doing work. There's the stasis trap catching a lot of the roaches. The whole front line bumper taken out. Now he focuses on the queens with nothing but a couple Ravagers to support them. And once those queens go down, the oracles clean up everything that's left. Void Ray prismatically aligns, focuses down the roaches. Those ones coming out of the stasis soon are going to be a bit of trouble, but Neeb has handled this so well.
That stasis trap was just too good. All of the roach buffer was taken out. Those would have killed so many more stalkers. Now it's snowballed in Neeb's favor, and Impact is desperately trying to place down another one, but this won't work. Like, once you've already used the first Nidus Storm and all the army in it, it's usually impossible to follow it up.
The queens were the biggest part of this, but the thing that's very interesting is there's not going to be... Oh, he's recalling. Oh, that's so sick, because you can use units instantly when you recall. It's the other way around from what it used to be in the past. So the stalkers arrive. They're here at the front line. They take down the Ravagers as the target fire. Oracles are a little bit empty. They can't actually fight right now. That was a bit awkward.
That was a bit too bold. Without the shield battery and without any upgrades on these stalkers, like, they were really bare bones. But it's just enough anyways with the Immortal.
And Neeb's been sitting on a very comfortable income while this goes on. He's not had to reproduce a ton of probes. In fact, how many? One probe has died through this. I'm
pretty sure Neeb has 70 probes because he initially made them assuming he would lose some. 70 is like a little bit high, but now as he goes to a fourth base, it'll be perfect.
Might as well. What's going to do with those probes? Lurkers are the follow-up, and it's an okay attempt out of Impact to try and bring this back, but... This game, to be clear, guys, is likely over. Neeb is going to have to make mistakes more than Impact's going to have to play perfectly for Impact to get a win out of this.
That stasis trap is just too sick. Lurkers can definitely buy a lot of time. And Neeb isn't growing his immortal count anymore. He's actually investing into a War Prism. We'll see if that's for a push or for just harassment.
Oh, some more little bitty bits coming down. Dude, Black Spade, come here. I hope you're okay with this. Let me know in chat. I really want to just shorten your name down to BSK. It's so much to say every time you cheer bits, but I love you so much for doing it, and I don't want you to feel wronged by it. But I think Protoss needs a buff. I'm just saying. You know what? I can't get into balance on this. I really don't think this was a balance thing. This was a Neeb handling this freaking perfectly while Impact walked into 2 stasis traps thing.
Yeah, that was a stasis trap thing. There can be something said about the amount of shield batteries you can place down right now with it only costing 75 minerals and all. But that was a stasis trap thing.
Stalker's gonna be blinking back. There's that Warp Prism to do some extra pickup if he needs, but I don't think he's going to need. He's handling this very well. The Oracles haven't even gotten involved yet. Now they go in. GG. Neeb does it. He takes the series 4-2. And Impact will now fall to the 3rd/4th place match. Again, that'll be played out first thing tomorrow morning. We have another match set up, though. We're going to have to go all the way over to Europe for this one, though, because it's Denver versus DNS. They have played each other many times. They're both fantastic players and not players you would have thought to have seen make it to the finals of this tournament, especially when you consider some of the other teams involved for like innovation and such. Like, I am shocked that these two are fighting each other in the semifinals, but I'm also very happy that they are too. BSK is fine. Okay, thank you, BSK, for the 100 bits. Mwah. Thank you very much, dude. Folks, we do have to go to a sponsored ad break here. So there's going to be some in-stream ads. We're going to let Ting talk about themselves for a few minutes. I'd say 5-10 minutes, come back, and we'll be good to go with the next series at the absolute latest. I don't want to have this drag on for too long, though. So we're going to play some breaks, some Ting ads, and then we'll get going with this other series. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you again here shortly. Also, before the break, hit the follow button if you haven't. Remember, we only need to get like 200 followers or something today, and we're going to hit that 100K mark. We're at 44 followers. Come on. I know you're on the front page. I know you're seeing the channel for the first time. Get in here. Make history happen on BaseTradeTV.